So when you're looking for finding good buy points, there are various things which you need to take into consideration. First is like what is your style of trading, right? If you're trading position trading, then obviously you're looking for a different kind of a buy point, right? And if you're position trading, you would look for something which has got a large base from which it is breaking out with volume which is very high. So if you can find something which has got like in a few months to years of base, and then it is breaking out of that, then that's a good situation for a position trade kind of a thing. So if you're looking at, say, let's say so if you look at this, okay, on a large, there is a large base which it has formed, multiple, probably a year long kind of a thing. This is like in a 7-6, right? And so here is a large base from which it is breaking out. You would like even higher volume, could have been higher than that. So that would have like shown that it is a big breakout out of a large base kind of a thing. Here you will see again, like here the volume was high, here the volume is really not high, right? And if you see this particular place, so this is what is the buy point if you are looking at basically as a position trade, right? And your buy point will be like this kind of a thing because it is coming out of a large base kind of a thing. Okay, so that's like what you look for as a trader in a position trade, and that's just one example. There can be many examples of that, but we are not going to spend time on looking at position trading buy points. What we are going to be mainly focused on is when we are looking at swing trading. Okay, and when we are looking at swing trading buy points, what is the most important thing if you're looking for a swing trading buy point? The most important thing when you're looking for a buy point, when you're from a swing point of view, is that it should be at start of a swing, right? That's like the best buy point is the buy point where it is start of a swing. If it is not start of a swing, you're buying on a second, third day, or like later after the swing has started, then you're not really doing swing trading, right? And you're doing something which you might feel like you're doing swing trading, but you're not, right? So that's something which we'll look at, like, and then obviously if you're doing day trading, your considerations are slightly different from a swing trader. Yes, you're doing swing trading on a lower time frame, but to a large extent buy points in day trading, the good buy points in day trading are more anticipatory than reactive. Basically, like if you wait for something to confirm, you'll be most of the time very led to an entry. Sometime it might work. So anticipatory buy points is really critical if you're looking at day trading. Okay, so what we are going to do basically is like we're going to look at this. Okay, so that's so when you're looking at swing trading buy points, like say if you run a scan, right, and you get candidates. So if you're looking at, say, today you have bullish combo scan, you have LTB bullish, okay, and a bunch of scans like this which you're running, or you have universe, whatever you have, right? So let's look at like basically say LTB bullish as a starting point, like copy all symbols into a bullish working watch list. Okay, and we'll go through a lot more examples like we did in the afternoon to see what happens. Okay, so here is a stock which is like basically going up. Like some of these things are going to be a problematic because I already marked some of these buy points, but like where is the start of a swing on this one? Probably this was the start of a swing. This is not the start of a swing. This was like, and it didn't really follow through. But here in this particular move, where is the start of the swing? Okay, the start of the swing in this case is here, right? And so this is the start of the swing. So on this day, it will show up in one of your scans, right? If it like shows up and that is the right, if you buy, it might work. Similarly, this is the start of a swing here, right? So that's like didn't work. That's a different story, right? And if you're looking for, say, a swing, so this is the start of a swing, right? So those are the swing points, or like even if you're looking for a swing point here, you're looking for a swing point as like a start of this. Okay, this is where it will show up in your low threshold breakout. It may not if you've got a condition to close near 70% of the high, kind of a thing, right? And so swing, so or like here, this will be a swing here. So this is the buy point, right? And basically in this case, like either this that will be low threshold breakout basically, or the next bar basically. Okay, let's see if it was a low threshold breakout on that day. No, it wasn't, so it will be the next bar basically. Okay, so that's the bar, and that is the day when the stock will show up in your scans, right? Similarly, like if you look at this here, where is the swing start in this particular this thing? Now here you had a start of a swing, right? And basically which didn't really work, but like that was a start of a swing. So here again, same way. I don't know why it like, and it should like be like this thing. So even this one, okay, but it didn't really follow through because that would have been a swing, right? And where will the stock show up on that day? That is a question which you need to answer, right? And where will the stock show up on that day? Dollar breakout, right? And obviously, so similarly, if you keep going and looking at swing points on any stock, you're looking for start of the swing, kind of a thing. So in this particular case, where is the start of the swing? So this is a good buy point on this particular stock. Huh? Okay, so that tells me at least people are awake, right? So obviously the buy point in this particular case is here, right? And sometimes like stocks don't offer very good like buy points. They like this can be another buy point in this case, right? And where will the stock show up? Like it will show up in your dollar breakout, right? And most of the time, like, and after that there was no clear buy point. Obviously this was not a buy point, right? And for those who are confused about this, so there was no good buy point. Like at best you can say, okay, look, this was a buy point, but will it show up in your LTB scan on that day? And no, it doesn't show up. So that's the thing. Okay, so and you can keep going into it. Like, so if you look at like say next stock, which is a war stock, right? And where is the buy point on this? Which one? This one? In this one? This one, right? No, this one. Yeah, that's a but like it will be, where will the stock show up in your scan? It wouldn't show up, right? And it is a like even this is a buy point, right? And this even this was a buy point, right? And it's like that's the buy point here. It on that day at least it will show up in your 4% breakout, right? And that's a 4% breakout here. This is a buy point, right? For a swing. And so here this is a good buy point, but it will not show up in your scan, right? And it means like the way your scans are designed, but that was a good buy point, right? Here. Okay. if you're looking for a minor pullback and then this thing. But each of these places, the stock will show up in your scans, right? On that day, the stock will show up in your scans. And if you don't know which scan it will show up in, it will show up in dollar breakout here. It will show up in dollar breakout or in LTB, possibly in LTB, right? And also like say here, it shows up in LTB here. So that's like basically where on that day the stock is going to show up, right? And on that particular day kind of a thing. Okay. So now here is Yum China. Okay. Where is the buy point in this? Yeah, it's too much drama. So that's like the buy points would have been like would have chopped you out kind of a thing. Okay. But here in this particular example, where are the buy points now? Good buy points, right? So obviously there is a good buy point here, which is a 4% breakout, right? There is a good buy point here, which is again a 4% breakout or something after a consolidation. So this is what it is. And you also have this thing as a buy point because that's a low threshold breakout, right? And that's a low threshold breakout. That's a low threshold breakout here, right? So sorry, I muted everybody, so you must have got muted. Uh-huh. No, these are all swing trades. So third day, like, and if it is like, and you would have protected profit, you would have got out of it, right? So that's so now is this a good buy point today? Okay, it is okay. So let's go to like this. If you keep going, like, and I look at like you have to train yourself to look at a buy point. One of the problems which I encounter every day is like people ask me random stock. Okay, what do you think? Should I be buying Datadog today? Okay, means obviously it's a free country. Who is stopping you from buying a Datadog today, right? But is this a buy point? Yes, so exactly. So where was the buy point on that particular thing? 2 days before, or like say earlier, here there was a buy point, right? Where will the stock show up on that day? On 4% breakout, right? Probably here, if you want to like look at it as like a small consolidation, which to me looks like a continuation move, but like at best here. But if you're buying here, means you can call yourself a swing trader, but you're doing something else, right? Where was the other buy point which was there, like here? There was a buy point, right? And that is where the 4% breakout was also logically, right? Or here this was a buy point. Obviously it didn't work, right? And that was a buy point, but here even this was a buy point, right? So you have to think in terms of like this is the skill which you have to develop, and if you develop this will be a lifelong kind of a skill. You know then what to look for or where the right buy point is. Otherwise you are just asking randomly, should I be buying this stock, should I be buying, and a lot of time you're buying because of fear of missing out. Or like say somebody today wanted to ask me, okay, look, what do you think, should I buy PAAS? Okay, yeah, obviously again it's a free country. Who's stopping you from buying PAAS today? But is that the buy point? Is that the right buy point? Obviously, right? No. So but say like it had nice buy points, right? And the stock had nice buy points, like say this was a very nice buy point, right? And obviously multiple buy points you can find like in here or here basically, or in this move there are not like this was a buy point. The fact that it doesn't work immediately doesn't mean that it wasn't the right buy point, right? And then the next one this one was a buy point, right? And there was a consolidation or like so something like that. So if you train yourself to look at the right buy points, why did it go there? Super, or okay. So here, like in this case of gold, okay, where is the good buy point? Where was the good buy point? Is today a good buy point? Okay, so here there was a buy point, right? And here there was a buy point, like here. So as the start of a swing, and that day, where will the stock show up? It will show up in your scans on that particular day, right? So here, like there was a buy point kind of a thing. So PTGX, is this a buy today? No. So where was the buy point? Always look for like in a defining where the buy point was. Like say here, the buy point was here in this particular case, right? Probably maybe here, but there's not. Now, is there a buy point here? Yes, right. So that's the stock which shows up in your scan. This is the stock which you buy, right? You don't buy pass or something else. You buy like this stock, right? So El Dorado Gold, is this a buy point now? Why is it a buy point? This was a buy point. Okay, probably as a low threshold breakout, this was a buy point. But if you are buying today, like there is no buy point there. Okay, is there a buy point here? No, right? And the buy point was here, somewhere here, right? Or here as a breakout, but it will not show up in your scans on that day. It will show up in your 9 million scan, but like on the 4% breakout, it wouldn't show up in 4% breakout, right? And this was a buy point basically, right? And so on and so forth. Like I got so many questions saying, oh, can you should I buy PVG, should I buy KGC, but are they buy points? Like here, your real whatever that thing does, I don't know, but like say here there is a buy point here, right? And that happens to be 4%, and there is a buy point here, and that happens to be 4%, right? And there is a buy point here, uh, and that happens to be 4%, right? And there is a buy point here, which happens to be a low threshold breakout, right? So Cambridge Handbook of Zoom Manners, right? So that's like basically what you have to look at, right? Um, the buy point, if you get the idea of the buy point right, then half the battle or 90% of the battle is won, because you're not buying at the wrong buy points. Here there was a buy point, right? And it will not show up in your scan. It might, because it might be a low threshold breakout, right? And here the next day, and then there is a buy point here, right? So if you keep looking at it like this, and keep looking at any stocks, and you can instantly identify the buy points on that. Here is a buy point on this one, right? And where is the buy point on this one? Here there's a buy point, and that happens to be 4%. And where is the other buy point? Here there is a buy point, right? And is the today a buy point? Yeah, we'll look at that later, but like from a buy point of view, yes, it is a buy point because it's a low threshold breakout, right? It is not 4%, it's a thing, okay? Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't it show up in the scan? So let's go to the other scan, bullish combo scan, okay? So let's look at like in a bullish combo scan, okay? It may not show up by the end of the day, but during the day it may not have showed up. Why didn't if your scans are set up right, Beyond Meat should have shown up in your scan today, right? It means if it doesn't show up in the scan, how will you know? Okay. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay. Mm. Okay, so if you are new, then obviously it's like, but if you set up the scans, if you have watch list, that's a different story. But even if you have watch list, let's take a look at this particular stock now. Where is the good buy point? Like today would have been a good buy point if it had closed near the high, right? And that was and it was a good buy point if it closed near the high. Where else was a good buy point on this stock? This one, right? That's I don't know what date it is. That's May 4th. Yeah, that was a good buy point, right? And none of the other buy points were good buy points in this particular thing here. Again, like same thing happened. It like kind of faded. But if it had not faded, this would have been a buy point probably, right? Anyway, means like it depends on how you look at it has a high volume also, but it faded like so. Obviously, at the end of the day, if you're looking at this, are you going to buy this stock? In the morning, yes. Means I also had a position in it, but like I moved my stop and my stop got hit. But are you going to buy this based on this buy point now? No. So yeah, obviously, like see, some of these are like buy points which are not, that's why they are not good, but like this was a good buy point, right? And obviously this was a very good buy point, right? So even like this was a dollar breakout, right? And that's a buy point basically. So if you train yourself to look at any stock and instantly identify the buy points, then what happens? And let's go through this list because I went through this list. So many of the stocks might have some of my markings. That's why I didn't start with this list. But like, let's say this is the list which you are going to run, right? And from this, you are going to look for a candidate to buy based on this, right? So let's look at basically, so here is Amazon on where are the buy points on this. For this particular swing, where is the buy point? Today I got a bunch of emails asking should I buy Amazon. So I just replied saying, look, instead of buying Amazon, it might be better idea to buy something on Amazon. Four days back, right? And this is a good buy point on this one, right? Obviously the other good buy point was like here, so that is another buy point, or here, this one. Okay, doesn't matter if it didn't buy work next day, but like if it shows up in your scan on that day, are you going to look at that stock? Yes, right. And so where else was the buy point, like in here? Yeah, so that is the buy point, right? And similarly, if you go back and look at and I say here, this was a, even this one was a low threshold breakout, right? And it would have shown up in your scan or not, I don't know, on that day. But like if you had a watch list, that's a different story. But like say here, it did show up in your low threshold breakout. That's a good buy point also. And the next day is also a good buy point if you did miss that particular thing, right? And the next day is also a buy point. But buying here is obviously means you are definitely not doing something which is called swing trading, right? You're doing something which might be completely different. Okay. I'm not going to discuss stops on this particular session. Stops is completely different session. If it continues to move, then depending on what you are going to be trading, swing trades, you might look at those differently. But we are not discussing stops. We are looking at how to identify the right buy points basically. Now here is the stock. Okay, where is the start? Where is the buy point on this? Is today a buy point? This was a buy point, right? And this was a buy point here. Where is the here, right? Here, or you are here also, right? So here, and this is a skill, right? And which you need to know. Even this one was a buy point, right? Because there was a consolidation, it just pulled back 2 days, kind of a thing, right? So that's But if you buy randomly, then obviously you're not going to make this thing. Why people buy things like, or why do they ask questions like this, saying, look, is Amazon a buy or something, is like a lot to do with the kind of thinking which is perpetuated by things like IBD and all. Look, this is a pivot point and you buy at the pivot point. That's like, then that's not swing trading what they do, right? What they do is something else, because then when you buy it at this point, you're assured one thing, that all these people who bought it here, they are going to be sellers there, right? And so you have to buy at start of a swing. If you're going to be doing swing trading, buy at a start of a swing. They are like, basically that's what it is. Okay, so here, like, if you look at this, where is the buy point on this? Is there a buy point today? Yes, exactly, right? There's a buy point here. And where was the last buy point? The last buy point was here, and so on and so forth. Like, you can mark your buy points here, like say here. Okay, I would have looked at this as also a buy point because it reversed kind of a thing. But like during this move, realistically, the only buy point which was like was this, right? And after that you had no chance because it just went crazy. And sometimes things like that happen, right? And in the case of, say, currently USLV, that was the good buy point, right? That was a good buy point. There is a good buy point here, was here, right? Or even here it wouldn't have shown in your scan. It might have shown in dollar breakout, but I'm not sure whether it would have shown in dollar breakout. No, it wouldn't show up in dollar breakout. So here, those are the logical thing. If you want to buy it here, don't email me, right? Because that is not buy point. Is that a buy point? Then why people buy it like that is because of FOMO, right? So let's go. See, we'll look at this scan, and then that will answer the question if shop is there in the scan, right? And it has to show up in the scan, basically. So here is Spotify now. So where is the buy point on Spotify, basically? And some of them may not be the one which you take because they don't look good as a buy point, but they were at the start of the swing move, right? So where is the buy point on this one? Why would yesterday? This one was the buy point, right? And that's the that is when it will show up in your dollar breakout also. Means you may not take it because it may not look like a ideal setup at that stage, but that is the start of the swing, right? So here some of these I already marked, like unfortunately that thing I now figured out. You have to look for that circle, but like say here, this is a buy point on this, and what else was the buy point here? This was a buy point, right? This day was a buy point, What else? Where else is the buy point on this one? Here. This one also will be like dollar breakout. It didn't work. That doesn't mean, but like that was the buy point, right? And it's the start of a swing probably. So, and then it didn't work. So yes, you can take that one also as a buy point, but that was also a buy point, right? And obviously this was we are not discussing tool inch here. We are discussing what are the buy point for a swing move. Okay, whether they will meet your criteria, that's a different story, right? Where is the buy point on this one? When was the buy point on this particular swing move? Today? It's a dollar breakout, but it's not a buy point, right? Means that's not the thing is that look at like a start of a swing. What is the good buy point? Start of a swing, right? And that is when it shows up in your scan. Or where is the good this thing here? Like, so here or here, basically that's a breakout. That's when it showed up in your 4% scan, right? Or here might be some other there might be a couple of other thing also here, like it had a breakout, then it failed, basically. So that can be also buy point kind of a thing. Okay, so look at like basically a start of a swing here. Like this is the start of the swing. You don't buy it here. You buy it as start of a swing basically, right? In this case, Shopify is what you're most worried about, right? Somebody is worried about Shopify. Is this a good buy point for Shopify? No. Where was the good buy point for Shopify? This one was a good buy point, right? And this one was a good buy point, right? And I'm not saying that how to manage the trade. I'm just saying where the buy points are. Okay. Obviously, managing the trade is a different art altogether, right? We are looking at like buying right, like buying it today. If it was like if it was like this, if it had closed like this, okay, I would have said okay, that's a buy point. But today it is not even closing like higher than that, right? So it's not a buy point, right? Here you would have said like as a low threshold, this was a buy point, right? uh, which didn't work. Like this was a buy point, right? This particular thing, right? I'm looking for a strong candle, not necessarily strong candle. I'm looking for a start of a swing, right? Where is the start of a swing? Is this a start of a swing? No. So this is the start of a swing, right? This was, so logically you have to look at like, and if you look at Spotify here, this was a this thing, or here. Yeah, it's like that's the minimum you want on a breakout, right? And it's like, why would I buy a breakout if it is not closing near the high? Unless I bought it in the morning and like my stop was like that kind of a thing, right? And so make a habit of like doing this on your own. Like I'm going to go through a lot of examples. Some of them have already been. Where was the buy point on this? Right there, because I marked it, right? So, but even here, this was a good buy point, right? It doesn't matter, it didn't work, but if it shows up in your scan, will you take this trade? Yeah. It will show up in dollar breakout. It was a consolidation, right? And a narrow range day before the breakout, 0.61%. Yeah. So obviously Zoom, we marked it extensively. Now some of the stocks like SolarEdge and all, they are jumping so all over the place, but still you can look at like buy points on them as a logical swings. Like this is the day, if the stock shows up, like say on this particular day, the stock shows up in your scan, right? And let's try and do this here. Getting that precisely is an art. So here, if this is what you'll see on the day on which it shows up in the scan. Is this a start of a swing move? Yes. So you buy that on that day. Why? Because it is a start of a swing move, right? Similarly, on this day, will you buy this stock? Yes. Why? Because it's start of a swing move, right? And so we don't know what is going to happen after that, right? But like it was a good start of a swing move, and it's become very choppy now, but that's a different story. So here, like this one, the buy point was here, right? On this day, basically. And where will, sorry, where will it show up in your scan on those days? Yeah, both, because it was a dollar breakout as well as a 4% breakout, right? It won't show up in low threshold because it doesn't have a TI above 65. TI 65 is not above 1.5, right? It's in a red TI, but like it will show up in a dollar breakout. Combination scan is like basically a combination of 4% and dollar breakout. So it will show up on that, okay? So here you have a stock, CCMP, okay? Where is the buy point on this one? And this on this particular swing, we are talking about this particular swing, which was a good, which was a logical buy point. this was the logical buy point. There it would have shown up, like it would not have show up in your scan, right? So you can't, like, and there's no way to find that stock. It will not show up in your scan. It might show up in reversal, but I'm not sure. It doesn't show up in reversal also. So this is a buy point which you cannot capture because it doesn't show up in your scan itself, right? But this one will show up in your scan, right? Because this is 4%, right? So that was the buy point for that particular stock. And now here, like, and let's take this here because it's optical illusion otherwise. So here, where is the buy point? Where was the buy point on this stock? Four bars ago, right? So here, this is a buy point on this stock, right? Was this a buy point on this stock? Yes, right. Means obviously you might get chopped out, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't a buy point on that stock, right? But like this was a good buy point, and obviously if you bought it there, then you are in a right kind of a swing right at the beginning. If you try and buy it today, what is the problem? So here is a stock, right? Here is a stock. Now where is the buy point on this one? Yeah, that May 14th, right? That's a low threshold breakout. Okay, this was also a break, this thing, right? So if you miss that low threshold, I would still take the next day, right? And that was like because, and did it show up in low threshold breakout on that day? It did show up in low threshold breakout on that day, right? So if you run your scans, and you'll find these stocks on that particular day, basically. Okay, so here, like, and this is a stock which is showing up in your scan today, right? Is this a good buy point? Where was the good buy point? Yeah, so yesterday, right? And that was the good buy point here, basically. Or like even this one was a good buy point earlier, right? And it would have shown up on that day in 4% breakout, right? So that's like what you have, like so Cardlytics basically, if you look at, like, and I say this, I marked like in the last session or during the afternoon, like say Wayfair, where are the buy points on this one, right? And then again, like, and it creates an optical illusion because stock is down, but like if you blow it up, you'll find that the stock and it shifted when I blew it up, but like say here, this will not show up because it will not meet your LTV condition probably on that day, I think, because of the yeah, it doesn't show up on that day in LTV because it didn't meet LTV condition on that day. Okay, but like here, so here you have a buy point, here you have a buy point, here you have a buy point, right? Is there a buy point here? No. So obviously, like, so here there was a buy point, right? So these are some of the stocks which I looked up like during the afternoon. I was showing. So this Zentil is like, and I see here there was a buy point, right? And will it show up in scan? Yes, it will show up in which scan on this day? Yeah, so it will show up in 4% scan, right? Here on this day, which again it will show up in $4 breakout. No, it will show up in not 4%. This will show up in dollar breakout because it didn't have a volume greater than yesterday's volume. So it will show up in dollar breakout, right? Here, this is a good buy point, right? It will show up in dollar breakout, right? So you have IPGP now, supposing, okay? So where was the buy point on this? Always look at, like, that should be your first question, to look at which was the best buy point for this, because if you can define the buy point, you will know whether you are late or you are at a buy point, right? Yes, those are questions, different question whether you will take it or not, like, but fundamentally you still need to understand where the buy point is, right? And if you don't, then you're going to like buy a bunch of things at a very late stage kind of a thing. Okay, so here like this was something which I marked like there is no buy point during this move currently. There is like so some of these I did in the afternoon, like here IAC, this was a buy point. Where else was the buy point on this? Here there is a buy point, right? And obviously here there is a buy point. Okay, so and probably like that was a breakout, so you would have taken, but like there are buy points, right? And a good buy points during the move basically. So here like Autodesk, where is the buy point, which was the good buy point on this one, and which scan would it show up on that day? It will show up in dollar breakout or LTB, I think, because the trend intensity was there. So here like here that's a low threshold breakout, right? So it shows up. So again, like Zebra Technology, this is a buy point there. Aristanet, some of these I marked in the afternoon. So here in this particular example, where was the buy point? This one would have shown up in your LTV scan or not, I am not sure. Yeah, it showed up in your LTV scan on that particular day. And that is the start of the swing, right? Means where did the swing start? The swing started on this particular day, right? Or like say here, this was a good swing kind of a thing, right? Or all these other things. So if you can develop this skill of finding good buy points, then what happens is that when you go through this, like there are today 391 stocks showing up here, and some bunch of them showing basically I'm not talking about trend lines, please. Okay, there is nothing like trend line or things which we do here. Okay, there is no trend line basically. Like the buy point on this particular stock was like here, right? What we are looking for is a momentum burst, right? And that's a momentum burst, and on that day the stock will show up, right? In your scans, and it will show up in your scans, or like say here like this is again a buy point, right? Okay. All these things which like I don't use. Okay, I don't use, and I question the assumptions behind them. The reason why I don't use them is I question the very assumptions behind that thing. If resistance and support as a concept was a true concept, okay, this market should not have come back like this, right? At every step there has been a resistance in this particular thing, right? Why do V-shaped recoveries happen? If resistance is such a problem, or resistance as a theory is correct theory, why do you think the stocks which do the best for a year, okay, all of them start from 52-week low, they don't start from 52-week high, and then they go on to make the biggest thing while they have the highest amount of resistance. So if you believe in that theory, okay, I would strongly suggest question all assumptions. Stocks which have the highest amount of resistance in a year end up making the biggest move, and the stocks which don't have resistance don't necessarily make the biggest moves. And if you can understand that, then you will stop using things which don't work. Okay, so here is the way you use this information basically, which is basically if you go through this like this is what we do, right? At a bullish combo, I went through this bullish combo and everything. Okay, and here is my list of things which I found today. of stocks. Okay, I didn't finish the bearish part of it, like I just went through. So here is a stock which I found in my scans, and is that a start of a swing? Is that a good buy point? Okay, here is a stock which I found. Is that a good start of a is that a good buy point? Is that a start of a good buy point? Is that a start of a good this thing? And here, whenever you look at it, make this a habit. Where was the good buy point here, right? And which scan will the stock show up on that particular day? 4%, obviously, right? New, is it a good buy point? Yes, right. And these are good buy points. We discussed this in the afternoon, right? And so this is a good buy point, right? Uh, Here, this is a good buy point, right? And here, so if you like, and I see here, is this a good buy point? Yes, right. So that's how you use this information, because then if you buy something, or and if you find something which is at the start of a swing move, obviously it may or may not work, right? And that we know. What was the thing from, and I think, and that's which one was the stock from yesterday, which didn't work basically, right? And yeah, right. And so obviously it didn't work. It's it completely reversed. But was that a good buy point? Yes, right. So we cannot control the outcome of our trade, but we can control what we buy and the buy points which we find. So here, this is a good buy point, right? And there's no other buy point here, because whenever it showed up, kind of a thing, right? So that's what we try and do. It may work or it may not work. Like a lot of these stocks had these buy points yesterday, right? And but they didn't they really have a follow through after that. So this is how you can use this information, and once you become good at it, what will happen is that you will not be asking question, is this a good stock, or you'll not be buying a stock like this here or on this day, right? You have to buy it on the thing. So when you run the scan quickly, when you go through, I can go through 600 stocks and 800 stocks, and I can find my buy points, because I'm just running, and and if I see something which meets my obviously I've gone through all these, but that's here Shopify, I don't see a buy point, right? So I don't need to spend time on it. So that's what you can and I really think. Okay. VXRT, which scan did VXRT bring out 4% breakout, right? It's a 4% breakout. I think it's in a bullish combo, right? And it's in the I think it's in the either LTB bullish, or I was going through what is the volume on it. Let's look at it. Where did I find 4.8 million here? Okay, so I found it here. Okay, 49 million. So I was going through the 49 million, and when I was going through the 49 million, so I was looking at 49 million, and then I said and I look here, okay, because this volume was this one was 59 million, right? So I didn't mark it there, but that was a 59 million volume. So that's where I found that. Okay, so this is 59 million volume, basically this big bar, and it had other 80 and 70, so that's why. So that's why it will be. The reason why you may not find it in LTB scan, it should be in LTB scan, but it may be because of the it didn't close exactly near the high, kind of a thing. Once you put the condition, it has to close at that particular thing. It can take you out some of your candidate. So okay. So So let me go through the questions. I didn't want to get into questions in the middle of it, like basically because I wanted that concept to be very clear, because I see that as a fundamental mistake a lot of people make continuously, which is like they are continuously. And see, the thing is that, look, one of the reason why this is important is like people are trading on the timeline. People are trading things which are not necessarily, means like they have their own definition of swing trading. Okay, they are doing things which are like very different. Sometimes like they're buying on a third day. Okay, but they are buying on a third day for a day trade, right? Which can create a lot of confusion for people who don't understand what they are doing, right? So but if you are going to be like good swing trader, and if you want to really make money out of swing trading, you need to develop this thing about finding these kind of stocks. Okay, so let me see the questions. Start swing, no, do you buy stock in the range market? I will buy anything, means like if the market is in a range, as long as the setup is good, it doesn't matter to me. So bid buy point was the day before earnings, but like once we decide, like okay, obviously once this list is there, then you do the first, you have to decide the right buy points. After that, then you may not select all stocks which have a good buy point. Yesterday there were like 70 stocks with good buy point, right? But I streamlined the list to a fewer in the newsletter, because you have to prioritize and look at things like that. After entering a buy point, you move stops up to protect profit. If stop doesn't get hit and stock finishes near the higher, then you swing. Yes, if that continues to happen, then I'll continue to swing. If the stop gets hit, I'll be out. AG is similar to Q. When to move the stop. Sometimes I get stopped out for a small profit. Sometimes I hold and then end up queuing back. It's a fine art basically. You have to look at the kind of stock which is there, and like say in the case of Beyond Meat, I know when it makes a move, it makes a big move, but multiple times it had like failed breakouts, right? And it like goes up and then it fades. So when I bought it right at the beginning, first few minutes, because it was showing up very early, but then I moved my stop because I was already in profit, and then it started coming down, so I got stopped out for a small profit, right? And obviously, was it a good decision? I mean, I think, and I am always comfortable living with that decision basically. uh, See, the you have to understand whichever method you are using, right? And in the IBD method, okay, their buy points are what, like they are like, and if you see, I don't know, like nowadays the print doesn't come in, but like say they used to print this thing saying look, then the stock makes this thing or something like so here, okay, and you buy it here. Okay, this was their buy point, right? And they were saying you buy it here. Okay, so if you're buying it here, that is, they are going by their pattern of like cup with handle, right? And this is the handle, and then you buy at the high of the handle or like something like that, right? But by the time it reaches the handle, what has happened is the swing has already started, right? By the time it reaches this handle, the stock might be up 3 days or 4 days in a row. So even if you see in their service, the swing trading service and things like that, they give you buy points which like many times don't make sense, because the stock is like reaching a level or like the swing has already started much before. So learn from IBD, like it's a growth investing methodology, but don't use their rules, because these rules were made in 1970s and 80s, where the market was different, market was much lower, and I don't think they work. And that you can figure out from their own service, where like they're struggling to make money using their own buy rules, and they were buying and getting chopped out continuously. Bullish combo scan is a combination of dollar breakout, and I think you're new, so you need to spend some time understanding. It will take some time. It is like overwhelming whenever you come in, and if you want, you can look at the boot camp. That's combined a couple of scans. Here is right. Sure, thanks. See this learning area. Watch all. The So extended bit, you would need TC 2000 subsidiary team can set up scans for you for small fee. Do you have all tons? If you missed on first day, then chasing the stock is a good idea. Yes, if you missed on first day, then you should chase. Like if you missed USLV breakout here, right? Then you should be like buying it here, right? No, you don't. Like you find the next trend. You wait for the next breakout, right? And if you find the next breakout, that's where you do. Like people are like, oh, everybody is like, can I buy MDB? Can I buy MongoDB? But like, is there a buy point there, right? And if there is no buy point, then you look for something which is a better buy point, right? So. Yeah, if a stock is breaking out with more than 8%, like especially when you get 15-30%, like yesterday, like for that matter, that Veer was up like 32%. That's why I didn't. In a way, it was a good decision also not to take it, right? Whenever it didn't work, but like if something is up 30%, there is no age which you have, unless it's a very small, like $1 stock or a few cents. Yeah, but just because you may overlay with tool inch and other layers to select to buy, obviously. Uh, yeah, that's where the thing was like, and the stock started by breaking out on that. Trend lines and all, I don't know. I'm not really. What is bullish combo? Bullish combo is a scan which looks for a combination of 4% and dollar breakout, basically. Okay, so it's a combination of dollar breakout and 4% breakout. So it looks for a breakout. So that's it. Throws a wide net and then we select stock. Okay. So TI doesn't have to be growing. No, there is never like for looking at like any buy breakout, momentum burst kind of a breakout. You don't need TI to be above 165, above 1.05. Only place where you need TI to be above 1.05 is where? For anticipation and LTV, exactly. You don't need it for this, like buy setup, not stocks. That's exactly right. And so, do we get in intraday on first day of swing? You get in as soon as you find the breakout. Like, and if you found a breakout in beyond meat in the first 5 minutes, you get in at the first 5 minutes, right? The more you wait, larger will be your stop will be. If you wait for confirmation, you'll be like really very late in it. So I buy like as soon as possible. Options is not something I do here. I don't do options. Yeah, nobody thought like USLV will go crazy like that. So that's what it is, right? Yeah, it was up 2.87, so that might be the. Because it was a breakout in the morning itself, right? And that's like, and it was showing up in scans first thing in the morning. Like in the first 5 minutes, like here it was breaking out like crazy. Means besides this, I have also the Trade Ideas software. So Trade Ideas, the first stock to hit the scans was Beyond Meat, basically. So that is the one. Yeah. And also like it's should be there from the day trading watch list which I watch, the stocks which I watch for day trading are all this stocks. Beyond Meat is a part of that because it tends to make, when it makes a big moves basically. And this list came in very handy today because once I realized that there is a sell-off starting, my immediate impulse was to go to TVIX and then put in a trade, and just like zoom, it went crazy. Okay, so TVIX is like It's amazing instrument when the market, when it is going up, right? And obviously it keeps going down throughout its life. So that's a different story, but amazing, amazing. So hopefully you understand this thing, kind of where to find a buy point, because if you find the right buy point, you will be like in a right kind of a stock. If you don't find the right kind of a buy point, then you'll continuously be buying at a wrong time, and if you buy it at a wrong time, it's very difficult to make money. So even when you go through this study of 20% and all, look at which were the good buy points, and if something had a good buy point, like say here, this was a good buy point, right? And which scan will it show up on that day? Yes, so it should show up, right? And so here Pan Am's, this was a good buy point, right? Where was the good buy point on this one? Here, Celestica, and a couple of others like here, and that also will show up in your scan on that day because there's a 4% breakout on that day, right? Dicom here. Here this may not show up because it is not a dollar breakout or something, but here it will definitely show up, right? So that's it. So here, like so I went through these stocks in the afternoon also. I think Malibu boats, like see here, this is a buy point, right? And that's when the stock will show up. Here, like also it will show up on which scan will it show up on this day? 4%, right? So they should just show up on, not all of them meet the criteria on that day on which they are sure. So here in this particular case, like this is a this stock would have been a good buy point here, right? And that's the logical buy point for the swing here. Now which scan should it be showing up? It should show up in a dollar breakout scan, and it did show up in a dollar breakout scan here, right? And he's here, you see. So you have to really go through the list, and if you are new, obviously it is going to take you some time to train your eyes, but once you train your eyes, you know which what is a good buy point. Like this is a good buy point on this one, right? And probably this one was a low threshold breakout, or even 4%. No, it was not. It was be a low threshold. So and so on and so forth. So do this, and if you do this, you will find that you will find the stocks at the right buy point. And if you find the stock at the right buy point and not like in a here, was this a good buy point? Yeah. Why? Because the buy point was this, but it didn't show up in our scan. That's the way it is, right? And sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't show up. And this was the buy point. It would not show up in any scans, so it's always like that, right? And some show up, some don't show up. Here, like this was a good buy point on this one, right? And all of them showed up, like the silver stocks. These are all silver. It was also 9 million, right? So breakout. So okay, any questions on this? This is a specific skill which a lot of people need to develop, because then if you develop this, what will happen is you will not be asking things, is it a good buy? Should I be buying Delta Dog here, or should I be buying this thing here or that thing here? You just run your scans, and you run your scans and find good buy points, right? And where was the good buy point on this particular stock? Okay. Here it will not show up in low threshold breakout because it didn't close high for the day. So here this was a buy point, right, on that particular stock. Here there was a buy point, but it will not show up because it didn't show up in 4% breakout. So obviously there's no way of buying it that way. So I really don't take gap unless like it is something which is earnings related kind of a thing. Big gaps I like and I really don't get in, because I find like so many trades without going into gaps like there is. But if there is a catalyst, I will take in. I will take in any gap. I will take a 30% gap also. But like say here, I like these kind of trades better than going into gaps, because gaps, unless there's a catalyst, you don't know whether it will work or not. But there are these kind of trades dime a dozen we find in the scan, so I don't need to even go into those kind of things. Here, like 4% breakout, and that's a good thing. So you can go through hundreds of them. If you go through hundreds of them, you will know exactly where to find a buy point. And this is a good example, like where was the buy point on this particular swing. Obviously this one was right, and here on this particular day, and where will it show up? It will show up in 4% breakout. So if you run the scan and after that you realize where to buy the thing, then you will be in a better position. So any questions on this? Because this is the fundamental to trading these swing methods, whether you trade mine or anybody's, or however you scan or whatever you do, the fundamental thing is that buy at the start of the swing. Okay. So that's it. Mm-hmm. 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 Most of the time, yes. Means like when I go through that at that time, yes, there is uh, one can add a condition to this scan which is similar to LTB, basically, which reduces the amount of effort which you then do to go through this. Yes. So what you can do is, like, basically what you can do is the second part of this condition. There is a condition in this LTB scan which is basically this, right? C minus L. So if you take that condition, okay. Now here is the problem. Some of the, like, and I don't know, like, and I didn't have time to investigate, but like the warden thing is, I am not sure it's having some bugs or something. Okay, I had, when I put this condition into the formula, what happens in the morning, especially on the combo watch list, and I have to investigate why it is happening like that. Probably I might have to add a bracket to that thing for that. But what is happening is when I run this, okay, so bullish combo with that kind of a situation in the morning, okay, it misses out on so many trades, like, and it doesn't even show stocks which should be meeting its condition for I don't know what reason. And that's why you can make that 0.7 also, like, and it's not, it doesn't have to be 0.8. But what that condition tells you is that where the stock is closing, or it is like, if you put it at, like, say 1, that means the stock is closing near the high. Okay, if you put it at like 0.9, that means it is closing 10% or somewhere like and if you put it at 0.8, it is like around 20% from the high, kind of a thing, range, the range. I don't know why it is doing that, but like I found that as a problem. Yes, it is referencing yesterday, and that's the problem. So that's why I am not hesitant to add this condition, because it completely, like, shows you scan stocks which don't even meet that condition of breakout, because it is taking yesterday's information basically. So that's a bug, I think. Yeah, that's like beyond my capability. So yes, I do it visually, and for that reason, because I tried adding that condition, and whenever I add a condition, there are some bugs in this system. Okay, similarly, like in this anticipation bullish. Okay, I don't know why it is happening like that, but I might have a hypothesis why it is happening. I think, and the hypothesis is correct, is because you can do a one of the members sent me a scan saying, like, you can do a ANDS combo which combines everything in it, including the high priced ones. So obviously once you add that, it misses out on a lot of high priced one, and the reason why it misses out is very apparent, because this uses TI-65 or 1.05, while the high price doesn't use that. But still it doesn't make sense to me why it does it that way. But software development and softwares is beyond my capabilities, right? So I don't go there. Mm-hmm. Zoom. Yeah, you can consider today as a zoom as a buy point. Like basically, that's like, this was a breakout also, right? And that's didn't work out. Now it's again this thing. So you can consider that. Okay. But again, like from just a quality of the setup point of view, it just there is like uh, it's not really making a move, right? And it's stuck. So I would look for something which is very high volume breakout out of this for it to work, because obviously this breakout, which was very nice and high volume, didn't work. So that's a secondary filter which I like as a buy point, yes, but as a final selection, why I didn't take it is because of it is not really clearly breaking out kind of a thing. Yeah, it broke down at high volume also. So some the consolidation quality is poor basically. From a tool inch point of view, consolidation quality is poor basically. Here the consolidation quality was reasonably well, but like with this high volume breakdown again, yesterday 9.5 million. So that's the thing. Okay. Okay, so that's what it is basically, and make this as a habit. Like, and I do it on hundreds of stocks, 500, or like anything which shows up in your scan on a regular basis, and then you'll realize whether you are finding the good buy points or not. Okay, thank you. Thanks. Thanks.